A veteran New York Jets starter just gave a very encouraging sign via workout video that he's closer to an NFL comeback for the New York Jets in 2023. Let's roll. Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Hey everybody, Paul Esden Jr. here, the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Well, we're in the middle of the offseason as we await training camp. Big news, I'm sure, is to come. But I thought there was some news that slipped under the radar that just popped up on social media, and that is veteran offensive tackle Duane Brown. Now, he's not a crazy social media guy, but every once in a while, he drops a little breadcrumb, and he reshared a workout video of himself to his Instagram story, and I want to show it to you guys. Here it is. I always tweet out stuff, so @BoyGreen25, hashtag branding, baby. And you'll see this quick clip here of old Duane Brown, pumping some iron. Here's the workout. Look at that. Yep. Pumping some iron. Now, you may be saying to yourself, Paul, what's the big deal? Duane Brown, a 6'4", 329-pound lineman, pumping some iron on what appears to be some sort of regular dumbbell. What's the big deal, pal? However, and I will say yes, sometimes I guess I can be hyperbolic, it seems, when I'm like, Zooey Mama or Wowza or Holy Cannoli. But I think this is a big deal, and here's why. That arm that you just saw on the screen, everybody, is the same arm that Duane Brown had surgically repaired this offseason. Remember, torn rotator cuff. Rich Cimini said it was a left torn rotator cuff, which again, to the video. So it is his surgically repaired arm that he's pumping iron with. So the weight may not seem outstanding, or even the workout in itself is nothing like JPP backflips during his draft a couple years ago. But I think it's important that we're seeing the arrow point in the right direction ahead of Jets camp. Why? Both Robert Saleh and Duane Brown, both of those guys, before we broke for camp, were non-committal if Duane Brown would be ready for training camp, which Robert Saleh, by the way, said Mekhi Becton would be ready for training camp. Why is that a big deal? Well, it could create a lot of drama potentially. First off, if Duane Brown's just not healthy, that's not good for a guy who's 37, going to be 38 soon enough. The Jets are putting all their eggs in his basket to be the blindside protector for Aaron Rodgers. But if he's not available at the start of camp, did the Jets put Mekhi Becton at left tackle while he's getting right, and then as soon as Duane comes back, you kick him to right? Or are you just holding some phony, ghost at left tackle and say, hey, Mekhi, you're going to be right, so we want you practicing it right? Again, all kinds of other drama could be happening here. But the fact that he's working it out, the torn rotator cuff, coming back for a 17th NFL season, all of that to me is wildly encouraging to see a workout video because we haven't seen much from Duane Brown this offseason. So I like that. Speaking of liking, make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe down below. And also while you're down there, we have a full article with all the details and why this is an X Factor season for Duane Brown. Also, some Jets team reporters kind of projecting and predicting. I know they're not the coaches, so they don't have access to the depth chart, but they predicted that Duane Brown will be the left tackle, as I believe will be the case, and Mekhi will ultimately be on the right side of the formation. Here's the thing. Duane Brown is one of the biggest X factors of the season. Last year, okay, we all know he had the decision. He won the Courage Award for the New York Jets. He was selfless. Okay, he tore his rotator cuff in the build-up to week 1, which is just the Jets' luck because they only signed him a few weeks before in late August. And they bring him in, he tears his rotator cuff, and he could have had surgery right then and there. Booyah, season would have been over for him, and he would have collected his bag and walked out the door. He did not. He instead chose to rest and relax and get placed on IR, missed the first 4 games of the season, then fought his way back onto the field. He ended up appearing and starting in 12 games. Now, was he the normal former all-pro self? Obviously not. The PFF analytics say it, and all the stats that you look at say it. However, he was pretty serviceable, especially for a guy who was playing with one friggin' arm. I mean, he was a warrior out there. And Dwayne even admitted himself that if he felt too compromised, like the injury was too much holding him back, he wouldn't have played. But he knew that basically his 50, 60, 70, 80% was better than a lot of NFL people's 100%. And by the way, he was right. So the Jets putting all their eggs in the basket is actually, I think, a fairly reasonable decision, because if he looked that good with one arm, imagine with a full offseason of recovery and rehab to be ready for a new season, and of course reinvigorated with the addition of Aaron gosh darn Rodgers. I like it a lot. I like Dwayne. I think he's a really solid piece. He's a guy that's only played left tackle at the NFL, so I don't think this old dog's learning any new tricks playing some other position. I think he is cemented as the left tackle, and I believe the moment training camp opens up and Robert Saleh speaks for the first time, which, by the way, is only in a handful of weeks here, I think he's going to do the same thing he did last year, where he just lays it all out on the line, right on the first presser. Hey, just so you guys know, Dwayne is left tackle, Mekhi Becton's right tackle. That's what they did with the whole Mekhi Becton, George Fant thing last year. We went into the abyss of the offseason and I don't know who's going to play where. We'll let you know. And then they said, well, actually, this is what's going to happen. So I believe that while we're in this mystical land of what's possibly going to happen here, I do believe ultimately that is going to be it. And I think Mekhi is just going to, gung-ho, grab the horse by the haunches, so to speak, and just kind of go to town. I believe that's what's ultimately going to happen here for Mekhi Becton there at right tackle. But Dwayne, blindside protector. Aaron Rodgers, it doesn't matter how great Aaron Rodgers is if he's laying on his back. So the offensive line, in my opinion, is going to be really good. Now, do I think it's going to be top 5? I don't know. But I think it has a chance to be an above average unit if these guys can stay healthy. A big if, of course, after last year, but Dwayne Brown, if he could come back and look like Dwayne Brown, I think this Jets offensive line has the capability of being pretty nasty. Plus, think about Mekhi Becton and AVT reunited on that right side of the formation. You got that young dynamic duo, which obviously has all the potential in the world. So exciting stuff. You have to protect Aaron Rodgers. The season will live or die by that reality. And the Jets are pushing their chips into the middle of the table on Dwayne Brown. We'll see if that gamble was the right decision as they convinced him to come back for a 17th NFL season. Like I said, there is an article down below talking about all this jazz. And I also want to mention this, and I'll be doing it in as many videos that are connected to an article. I work for Heavy.com. You hear me say it at the beginning of every video. If you guys want to be involved in random giveaways, I'm going to be doing New York Jets giveaways, and we're going to be doing random giveaways for people who comment on the article, not on the YouTube channel, which I always appreciate, of course, but on the Heavy.com article that's listed down below. Being engaged, asking questions, creating a community. That's what we're looking for. Not, hey, first comment. It has to be engaging commentary, and I'm putting that in a pool. And every once in a while, I'm doing a Jets giveaway. Here's an autograph this. Here's some of this. Maybe even a social media shout-out. Maybe a one-on-one interview here on the channel. There are so many possibilities. That's how you can support me in the show, is by getting interactive comments in the Heavy.com articles that are listed below. Not just this one, but all the ones that you see, and you can be entered into some giveaways moving forward. So, guys, keep an eye out for that one. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for tuning in.